Lewis Hamilton thought his Silverstone podium was gone. He had just overtaken Max Verstappen when a yellow flag appeared. The rules demand you slow down. Hamilton admitted he missed the warning and braced for a penalty. But the stewards found something critical. Hamilton entered the sector before any yellow light panel was displayed. The first signal he saw was green. It told him the track was clear. The yellow alert on his steering wheel appeared only when he was nearly out of the zone. This was not defiance. It was confusion. The evidence showed he may not have had a fair chance to react. So the stewards made a decision that changes everything. They gave him a driving reprimand but no time penalty. His podium stood. His 15 points remained safe. But this is not just about Hamilton escaping punishment. It exposes a major flaw in how Formula One warns its drivers. If the system fails to show a clear signal in time, can it really blame the driver? To understand why Hamilton kept his result, we must look at those final seconds. The battle with Verstappen did not end when Hamilton pulled ahead. It intensified. Overtaking at Copse is only the first step. Verstappen forces you to defend. He makes you check your mirrors. Hamilton was fighting for position with his focus split between the car ahead and the threat behind. This mental load changes how a driver processes information. Then Nico Hülkenberg's Audi stopped. The yellow flags came out. The rule demands an instant reduction in speed. But Hamilton was still managing his tires and watching for a counterattack. He admitted he did not see the warning. In a normal situation, this would be an open and shut case. But Silverstone is not normal. The speeds are higher. The margin for error is smaller. Hamilton expected the stewards to take his third place away. But the investigation revealed his view of the track was not what the cameras showed. The timing of the signals did not match the breach. He was in a high-speed sequence with limited visibility. The first light panel Hamilton encountered after Copse was green. This detail changes the narrative. A green signal tells a driver the track is clear. It encourages them to maintain pace. At full speed, a driver trusts a green light implicitly. So while the yellow flag was active, the visual cue said the opposite. This created a direct conflict between the rulebook and what his eyes saw. Then the yellow warning appeared on his steering wheel, but it arrived too late. He was already approaching turn 10 near the end of the zone. The alert flashed for a brief moment before disappearing. This was not a sustained warning. It was a fleeting signal in a high-pressure maneuver. Hamilton had to process the green panel, the steering wheel alert, and Verstappen all at once. The cognitive load was immense. This timing issue is the core of the FIA's decision. If a warning appears when there is almost no track left, it cannot be treated like a clear early signal. The system failed to provide consistent information. The FIA stewards faced a difficult choice. A reprimand acknowledges a mistake without altering the finishing order. A time penalty rewrites history. The evidence showed Hamilton did not fully comply with the yellow flag requirements. But the stewards also looked at why he missed the signal. What the data actually shows is that Hamilton entered the sector before any yellow light panel was visible. The first panel he saw was green. This is a critical distinction. He was reacting to conflicting information. The steering wheel alert appeared late and vanished quickly. This limited his reaction time significantly. The stewards accepted that this was not deliberate disregard. It was imperfect information in a high-speed environment. This decision protects Hamilton but highlights a systemic issue. If the warning does not arrive in time, can the driver be held fully responsible? The FIA chose a middle ground. They recorded the breach with a reprimand, but kept the podium intact. This balances safety with fairness. Hamilton crossed the line in third, behind Charles Leclerc and George Russell. Those 15 points were vital momentum for his championship fight. Kimi Antonelli finished outside the points. This made Hamilton's result even more valuable for Mercedes. Every point gained by Hamilton was a point lost by his rivals. The decision to keep his podium intact preserved his position in the standings. A time penalty would have dropped him down the order and handed those points to others. Mercedes needed every bit of performance they could get. Losing 15 points at their home race would have been a massive blow. The stewards understood this weight. They knew changing the result would have far-reaching consequences. This was not just about one driver's mistake. It was about the integrity of the championship battle. A penalty here would have sent a message that late warnings are no excuse. By choosing a reprimand, the FIA avoided setting a precedent that could punish drivers for system failures. If a 7-time champion struggled with these signals, imagine the challenge for a rookie. A less experienced driver faces even greater pressure. They are still learning to manage cognitive load while fighting for position. A late warning could cause panic. The system must be clear enough for everyone on the grid. This case exposes a design failure that puts all drivers at risk. Experts point out that drivers process hundreds of data points every second. They manage tire temperatures, brake balance, and radio messages all at once. Adding a late visual alert creates unnecessary danger. A warning that appears too late is worse than no warning because it forces a sudden reaction. This can lead to loss of control. The real story is not about Hamilton's mistake. It is about the reliability of the information he received. A green light followed by a brief yellow alert creates doubt. Doubt is dangerous in Formula One. Drivers need certainty to make split-second decisions. This ruling establishes a new standard for evaluating yellow flag breaches. Drivers will now argue that late or conflicting signals mitigated their responsibility. The FIA has acknowledged that visibility matters as much as compliance. This shifts the burden of proof in future investigations. Stewards must now consider if a driver had a fair chance to react. This creates a more nuanced approach to penalty decisions. Trust between drivers and officials is fragile. Inconsistent penalties erode confidence in the system. If one driver is punished while another escapes due to timing issues, it creates confusion. The FIA's decision aims to restore trust by recognizing the complexity. It shows they are willing to look beyond the simple breach. The open loop is resolved. Hamilton kept his podium because the evidence did not support a harsher penalty. The system failed to provide clear warning in time. The stewards chose to protect the result rather than punish a driver for a systemic flaw. Hamilton's escape was not luck. It was a revelation about how Formula One manages safety. The green light, the late alert, and the pressure from Verstappen created a scenario where perfect compliance was impossible. The FIA chose to value evidence over emotion. They preserved the integrity of the race result while acknowledging the system's limitations. This decision serves as a stark warning to the governing body. The technology must match the demands of the sport. Next time, the driver might not have 7 world titles. It could be a rookie fighting for survival. The consequences could be far more severe than a reprimand. A delayed warning in a high-speed corner can lead to catastrophe. Formula One demands instant obedience, but it must provide instant clarity in return. Without that balance, the sport risks punishing drivers for failures they did not create. The safest warning is the one the driver sees and acts on before it is too late. At Silverstone, that promise was broken.